So what does your numbers look like? And if you could like break it down from like Amazon and Walmart, that'd be great.
Yeah, so last year I was mainly focusing on Amazon. I started Walmart in 2023. I was doing about 120,000 a month on Amazon at the full, scale to what I had it at. And then the hard gates started happening, but I instead focused more of my power into Walmart, because I see the potential there. I still have full faith in the platform and wanted to scale that as much as possible. But with both of those combined, it's like 100 and maybe 60, 150 some of the months.
E-commerce is the greatest business opportunity of our generation.
What's up, people? Welcome back to another episode of the Ecom Unlimited podcast. It's your boy Kaj here with my co-host Josh.
What's going on, everybody?
And today we have a guest that I've, like many of our guests, met on Twitter, but also connected with in person down in Miami Sellers Conference, Matt Bender. Matt, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Awesome, man. Thanks for making time and hopping on the pod with us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right, well, let's just jump right in. So tell us how you got into e-commerce, selling on Amazon, selling on Walmart. How long you been in the game?
Yeah, so got started while I was in college. My best friend, he was still my roommate now. We tried to game plan some ways to make money online. We went to a library a lot and tried to write out on a whiteboard, maybe stocks or doing DoorDash or anything under the sun just to try to make money while in college. And then COVID hit, and a lot of people can relate to this. We, didn't have a job at that time because of COVID. We didn't really go to school. So we're kind of what am I doing with my life? I need to change my mindset. And I was on TikTok and I saw one of the retail arbitrage videos for Amazon. And there was a guy going to Marshall scanning the shampoos and everything. And I told him about it, my roommate, and he was like, okay, yeah, I'm going to give that a shot. But I ended up going to Spain for 4 months to live there for studying abroad. And he kind of took that idea and went with it, and he built it up. So I always give him his credit. And then when I got back, I learned more about it, locked in, started doing OA pretty shortly after that time of coming back. Was working full-time, still finishing up college senior year, and then transitioned into wholesale after going full-time after graduating college, and did wholesale now for, I want to say 2 years. I do mainly brand direct. That's just my whole focus. I do a little bit of OA still in Walmart, but it's just mainly wholesale. Just been pushing the needle with that. And then I started a software company. Last year was in development. Finally launched in May when I was at the Miami conference with everybody. That's called SourceDart, and it's for Walmart sellers because that's my main focus now, which is Walmart. So just trying to grow Walmart because I see the potential there and trying to scale as much as possible. So I would say it's pushing 4 years into the game now.
Okay, solid. And what year did you graduate?
I graduated 2023.
Okay, solid. So recently.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep.
Awesome. Okay, and so you said you had that roommate, your best friend, that kind of got you started. It's funny because me and Josh have a similar story. I re-downloaded Snapchat recently, and one of the memories I have is a ugly mirror selfie that I took, but it was a selfie that I took right after Josh. Remember when you sent me that? You sent me an email of the YouTube video of the guy doing private label.
Yeah,
and it was
that's hilarious.
Yeah, I found that. It's this is the exact moment when we had the idea to start the business, which is so dope. But yeah, that's how we got started. So similarly as well, just finding YouTube video and then being you know what, let's just send it and see what happens. And here we are.
Yeah, it only takes that one video sometimes if you have the mindset and ready to lock in.
100%. And hopefully this video will be that for someone else.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Yeah.
So what is... Oh, Josh, you got it.
Yeah. So what does your numbers look like? And if you could break it down from Amazon and Walmart, that'd be great.
Yeah, so last year I was mainly focusing on Amazon. I started Walmart in 2023, so I guess an early adapter of it before all the hype and everything. I was doing about 120,000 a month on Amazon at the full, scale to what I had it at. And then the hard gates started happening, and that really changed my perspective on dialing it back. And just kind of, focusing on the same brands, maybe include a new brand a month, keeping that right around, 50,000 spend a month. That's it. I cap it out and it's automated. So it probably does, I think it's around like 60 to 70,000 in sales now a month, nothing crazy. But I instead focus more of my power into Walmart, because I see the potential there. Yes, recently they've gotten a little bit more strict, but I still have full faith in the platform and wanted to scale that as much as possible. So I haven't hit 100K yet in monthly sales on Walmart, but I'm like right there. And I just like month after month, it's like right under the 100K mark. But with both of those combined, it's like 100 and maybe 60, 150 some of the months. Just depends on, how much I spend, of course. So.
Gotcha. Okay, very nice. And then, so what does your team look like behind you?
Yeah, so I've built pretty decent systems to where it works, where I don't need to spend as much time on it anymore, because that is the goal for some of the business. You don't want to be working on a lot of the tedious tasks over and over and over again. So for Amazon, I have one main VA that handles pretty much all of the orders, accounting, prep center updates, anything under the sun. I'll log in on Tuesday and Friday with her, and she'll send me exactly what I need to place with the brands on those days, and I just send the money. So it's fairly automated, and she knows what I need to spend, how much the cap's at. I add it all to Notion, so it's all organized. So for Amazon, it's just one person. For Walmart, I have a sourcer who is also getting trained to do all the admin tasks now as well from my main VA who handles all of them. So there's technically two people on the Walmart team. But the one main VA kind of handles, overseeing Amazon a little bit, overseeing some of the wholesale operations, the software operations. She kind of does everything. So that's three people so far. And then the fourth person is my social media VA. He helps with editing all of my content for me. He helps give me ideas. He does pretty much a lot of different things now for the software as well. So I have a 4-person team. Gonna hire a 5th person here pretty soon, but yeah, it's not too slim, but it works because everybody knows their role. Things get done. It's getting automated more and more month after month.
Wow, that's really cool. That seems like a nice slim team that's pretty manageable for like one person to oversee. Now, how long did that take you to build out? Because some people think it's like, oh, I just hire a VA and then sweet, all the work's done. They got it. What does that actually look like?
Yeah, so I hired my first VA a long time ago. He was great for the longest time. Then he started to not work and, lie about the time, whatever. So I had to fire him. And then it kind of looked inward. I had the main VA that I have now. She actually reached out to me on Twitter a long time ago. And I was like, no, I'm not interested. Like, I don't need anybody right now. And I actually went back to her and I was like, how does being my personal assistant sort of like manager VA sound? And she was like, that sounds great. I don't really know much about it. And I was like, well, I can help you. If you help me, I can help you. So she works very hard. I've trained her over the span of now 9-10 months, actually probably a little bit more than that. So been training her in all aspects of the business. Obviously that comes with a lot of trust. I don't just straight out tell her everything, right off the rip of hiring her, but I've incorporated her into the business over that span of the months. And then I hired her sister, who is the Amazon person. So her sister is the Amazon person. And then she also found the Walmart sourcer and the social media assistant. So she actually hired for me. Like she, went out there and found them per se, because she already knew them, and brought them onto the team. So I would say in the span of creating this system with my team, it took 10 months.
Wow. And I think, well, that's crazy, because the fact that your VA actually hired other VAs, I don't think the average individual knows how hard it is to hire a VA that can actually do what you want to do. Usually, you get a crap ton of applications, and you can have certain tricks to kind of narrow it down. But that's actually really cool that she was able to go about hiring them. Did you have any issues with the individuals that she hired?
So no, honestly, not really. We had another Walmart person that she hired before, but he had health problems, so it wasn't even related to something that I can control. So he's not a part of the company anymore. And then I hired his sister through her knowing these people too. So it's kind of funny. And it's this is a good scenario. I would say most of the time people are not going to have this kind of situation where they have one VA that can hire all these VAs. I think I'm sort of lucky in that sense. But I also do think it's your hiring process and the systems behind your business matter the most as well. Like you can hire the best VA in the world and they can still really suck if you don't have the best systems behind them. Like if you're not taking accountability and building out like the Notion and like their to-do list, their goals, their understanding of what their roles even are, then it's like any assistant you hire can be bad and, you know, damage your business.
Absolutely. Now, are a lot of your VAs hired in the Philippine region, or I'm assuming, or is there
Actually
another region?
Pakistan. Yeah.
Okay, Pakistan.
Yeah.
Now, with like the big time difference, in terms of like communicating with them, how do you usually communicate that with them to help them, you know, reach their goals and to help your business out?
Yeah, so no, I'm not perfect. You know, I think I could definitely have more meetings with them, you know, be more on board with what they are doing on the ins and outs. But since they know the time zone for me and I know the time zone for them, they actually work. I think it's like 9 to 5, pretty much my time, Eastern Standard Time. So
Okay.
it's Pakistan's a little bit better than the Philippines for time zone difference. Another reason I don't hire in the Philippines is it's too large of a time difference for me, and I don't want
Sure.
them to work when I'm not working. So I've kind of had them on the same schedule as my work time per se. And I used to communicate with them through WhatsApp, like I would do WhatsApp groups and everything, but recently got into Slack, and Slack has been an absolute game changer. I love it. I have all the channels there. I have, you know, the specific ones just for Amazon, for Walmart, for all of the teams, so I can do group like reminders or like group tasks. Because sometimes I'll include all of my VAs in like a task for SourceDart or like, you know, something related to my business, and I'll just send them a little text there. But yeah, Slack and Notion, that's like the
Slack
new
is so
right
good.
there.
I literally just tweeted yesterday about how much I love our team Slack, which is so funny.
It's
Dude,
great.
yeah.
The AI notes are definitely really helpful in the huddles. Like you'll do like quick little huddles. AI notes gives them exactly what to do after the meeting. Some things to tweak, you know, in the notes, but yeah, overall, that's like the main communication system. They know to work Monday through Friday. My main VA actually does work on the weekend too. She's just like always responsive. She knows to text me as much as possible, which seems kind of annoying, but I'd rather her be more responsive and, as you know, in the business as much as possible, because that's her role and that's why I pay her more. So it's like, it's just something that she should do. So yeah.
Absolutely. That's really cool.
Team leadership and all of that is a whole skill in and of itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Let's stay on this topic for a little bit longer, because I feel like, Josh, this is not a topic we normally spend a lot of time on with our guests. So
I agree.
Very curious. Yeah. So within your Slack, like, do you have them giving you like daily updates of what they accomplish? How are you keeping track of tasks? How are you making sure things don't fall through the crack? Are you following up with them every day? Like, what does your meeting cadence look like? Just like really break down that cadence of communication with the team, because I think that will be super helpful for people listening, especially people who maybe just hired their first VA or are thinking about hiring their first VA.
Yeah, I honestly love like talking about this stuff because, like I said, I'm a big systems person. And this is like your main system if you want to automate things. So in terms of knowing what they're doing and how they're doing, I have a channel just for daily task updates where they can check in if they want, you know, like write check in at the time. I don't really require that because I just know the times that they're working. I trust that now. But in the daily task updates, what they're responsible for doing is just briefly explaining what they did that actually pushed the business farther. Not just like, you know, I sent a message to the wholesale supplier or like the brand, you know, that doesn't really count as like an actual task. And then I pair that with the Notion to-do list. I have their own to-do list and each VA has one. And I actually went a step further to have a tally form. If you're familiar with tally, it's just like a quick like form system, and it connects to Zapier, which is like
Interesting.
Automation.
Yeah, I know Zapier, yeah.
Yeah, so I can go on my phone, fill out this quick form, who the VA, the task is assigned for, what the task is, the date it's due by, and the priority, and then it sends that task to their Notion automatically, without having to do anything.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So it's just like a small convenience thing for me because like on the go, if I'm like at the gym, and I have a task that I come up with for them to do, instead of me like going to Notion on my phone and trying to like add it that way, it takes a little bit more time doing that. So I just made it more simplified for myself. And it also connects my own to-do list too. So I can add it quickly to mine. But they know the due dates are in there. They know to check their Notion. If I assign them a task through Slack, which sometimes happens just because I'm like, quickly thinking of something, they'll add it to Notion themselves. So they have full control over that. They have to hold each other accountable. Things are not perfect. Like I said, there's some things I'm like, what's the update on this? Please check in with me. But I think now that they're getting the hang of Slack, they're going to start, doing like the threads for certain tasks, marking off with like a little check mark if things are completed. Some of them know not to bother me with like small things because I don't need 1,000 messages about everything they do. It's mostly like I know that they're doing these things because I'm seeing it get marked off in the Notion, in the Slack, and the daily task updates.
Got it. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So I'm not using Notion, but I recently built out essentially like a task tracker just in Google Sheets that kind of keeps track of those same things. So like, who is it assigned to? What's the task? Like, are there any files associated with it? The priority level, that sort of thing. I really like that form idea that you have. For me, I normally just assign everything through Slack. Like even Josh knows sometimes Josh will get home from work and he's got like 7 unread Slack messages from me. And he's like, oh boy, here we go. But it's like the same thing with like my whole team too. And sometimes I'll even just like do a voice note. I'll just like send a voice note to the team like, hey, thinking of this right now. Didn't have time to write it down, but just, got to get it off my head or else I'll forget about it.
Yeah. And that happens all the time for me too, where I'm just like texting them and I come up with something, or like it's really quick where I'm like, I don't really need to add this to Notion. This is something you can do within Slack. But the thing I found out when I had WhatsApp, especially, I was texting them like several different times, even with the Notion that, please do this, reminder to do this, like add it. And then they were just like getting missed, like things were getting missed. And I'd have to like scroll back up into the chat and like reply to it and be like, is this done? Like, I didn't hear anything about this. And I looked and I was like, I could be mad at them for not remembering to like add it to Notion or whatever, but I took accountability and I was like, I need to build a better system, have it in Slack, do whatever I need to do to set up the Notion better, whatever is easier for them, because if it's easier for them, they can get stuff done quicker for me. That's how I see it. Like, I don't want to be doing any of these tasks that I'm assigning them. So I need to almost make it easier for them, even though it's their job. They're still a VA, they're not going to like go above and beyond. Most of them are not, to do like everything in your business without you ever having to tell them anything to do. So it's kind of like, you got to make the process really clear for them, really simple.
100%.
And that comes with, over time, seeing what works and what doesn't work too. Like, no, I've probably been building like this system. Like, I've hired the VAs recently, but I was still trying to build a system with my first VA right off the rip because I saw the need for some sort of like, standard operating process. Like, how can this move with me? Maybe just adding a quick, task in the system. Like, what can I do to make it easier? That's always been my thinking, and I probably will still keep refining it.
Always refining.
Like, I don't think it will ever stop, even with it being sort of automated. I just want to improve it, make it better as much as possible.
Yeah. And you always got to update processes a little bit because the business changed, the platforms change, your SOPs will change. I will say the one thing that's been really helpful for us is I do a team sync meeting at the beginning of every week, which normally takes maybe 10 to 15 minutes. So we just like review all the POs, any high level tasks. We go through the task manager, and there's there's normally not anything crazy that happens in that meeting, but it's just like, all right, everyone's on the same page. And then on Thursday, so today, I have one-on-ones with each team member. And that's where it's like we can take a little bit more time to go more in depth on tasks if we just need that synchronous communication versus writing or voice notes. And that's been really helpful to make sure that we're like always not missing things and having things fall through the cracks. Yeah,
that's smart. And like, I'm trying to tell them like to set up their Sundays, like my Sundays, where like I plan for the week a little bit. But like, they're trying to relax too on the weekend. Some of them work a little bit, but I do like that idea where you have like the day for everybody and then the other day for, individual calls. I might even try that out too, to be honest. So
Yeah, and the one thing I found, it might sometimes it's just a cultural thing, or having English be their second language. But I find like that there's some things where I'm like, okay, you definitely could have sent me a message about this, or it could have been like maybe a longer, more detailed message, but it's just easier to talk about face to face. And so like them knowing that they have a one-on-one meeting coming up with me, they kind of like now with that rhythm will have a list of like, hey, Kaj, these are the things that would be, nice to talk about in this meeting. And then we just kind of knock all those out, and it's super helpful.
yeah, and I think a lot of times like they're kind of shy. They don't want to like say something wrong to get them fired because a lot of them are like traumatized from previous like work environments. Like I've seen some people be really like mean, just straight up mean to their VAs. Jeez. And like at the end of the day, they're still people, and you got to treat them with some respect and understand their time and all the things that go on. So I think a lot of times like giving them the confidence to speak up about certain tasks and like be like, hey, reminder, Matt, please do this on please order on this day, so we can get our monthly limit for spend for Amazon for the month or something like that. So like it's kind of like giving them the driver's seat for some things. It's tricky because they're shy and they're traumatized, but you can definitely build that like rapport over time with them for sure.
Yeah, it definitely, it does. It takes time, but like now, I mean, my two main employees have been, maybe almost 3 years now, definitely over 2, which is kind of insane. But it's like now that trust is super deep. They know how I work. I know how they work. And now we're at the point where like they'll disagree with me, which I absolutely love.
Yeah, that's
it's
great.
Like because again, in the beginning, like, maybe they've had bad work experiences. They don't want to get fired, so they don't want to push back. But now it's like, no, guys, like you've been working this for pretty much as long as I have, and you have a lot of information. So if you think there's a better way to do it, like, let me know, because I don't have all the answers. And so now we can like have that back and forth, like, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? And they know I'm not going to like be pissed off because they think differently than me, which I
that's
love.
Great. I think a lot of people just strive for that kind of relationship with your VAs.
Yeah. Takes time though. Takes time.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe let's switch gears a little bit and talk like Walmart versus Amazon and kind of the differences that, especially you, Matt, have seen over the past, I think, you got started in 2023 for Walmart. So over the past 2 years, what are some of the differences that you've seen with Amazon and Walmart?
Yeah, so when I started, it's different and it's the same at the same time. So different brands sell as well on Walmart that don't sell on Amazon, which is surprising because you might think everything that sells on Amazon will probably sell on Walmart, which is mostly true. But there are certain things that you can't sell on Amazon that you can sell on Walmart. So at that time, I was selling a lot of La Roche-Posay. That's a brand you cannot sell on Amazon at all. That actually did get gated on Walmart, which was a huge loss, but move on. But that only happened, I think, in February of this year. So you could have sold it for, a good period of time. And there's several brands like that you can still sell on Walmart that you just straight up can't on Amazon. I think that is a benefit in itself for people trying to diversify platforms. And I will also say, the volume is there on Walmart, but it looks a little bit different. It's not like you're going to find 5 listings selling thousands of times a month as you might with wholesale for Amazon. Like brand direct on Amazon is pretty fruitful. Like you could find listings doing tons of sales a month and be doing very well, right? You don't have to worry about volume on Amazon. On Walmart, I would say it takes a lot more of those listings to get that kind of volume. And that's something I always will say is like, it's a go wider game rather than a go deeper game. It's like you need to find 20 listings rather than only 2 or 3 listings for Amazon, if that makes sense. So I'll look at certain listings that I find with my VAs or during my wholesale, whatever, and I'll see maybe even like 10 sales as the estimated sales a month. And I will actually buy that because I know that even that one little product that could sell 5 to 10 times a month, if I get the buy box, WFS, pro seller badge, whatever, I know that even that 5 to 10 sales adds to like I don't even know how many different listings I have, like the 300, 400 plus, probably more than that, that I currently sell. And that's just that builds up over time too. Like if you have a large catalog on Amazon, I guarantee you can probably translate a lot of those things onto Walmart and not have to build it up over 2 years like I have done. But I would say it's a volume thing. You know, you have to find a lot of listings, and you can get away with selling some of the brands you can't sell on Amazon. That's some of the differences. The other things are, you know, the Chinese counterfeits have been an issue on Walmart, but that was an issue on Amazon if you think about it at the same time. So it's normal, like through a new platform, that you're going to see these things, and that's why Walmart's kind of getting stricter, which I could go into that as well later. But over, you know, the 2 years of selling there, things have gotten better, like more velocity, I would say, more sales for certain brands. But it's really not that much different at the end of the day. They might change their processes for like shipping and WFS a little bit, but Walmart is still behind on a lot of things for their data, their, you know, their back-end solutions with their, you know, sending in shipments is still just weird and wonky. So it's all going to take time for it to catch even nearly up to Amazon, which I think it is competing very well with right now. They're doing big things right now with the platform. They're constantly improving it, giving incentives for sellers. So I think another difference is that Walmart will work with you a lot more than Amazon will, and they actually do value you for the most part, especially if you do things right. If you do things right and you show Walmart you're doing things right, they'll almost treat you like a king. And I only know that from experience from my brand directs. Once they see that supply chain, they're like, oh, okay, you're good. Like, I'm going to help you out now with this case. I'm going to help escalate the certain things. So like the team for customer support is far greater than the team for customer support on Amazon.
Oh my gosh. That for sure they have, I mean, it's so much better.
Yeah. So I would say I really have valued how Walmart has worked with me as a seller, because there's been a lot of BS that happened with the listings. They're just like, why did this happen? Like random error and comp errors and things that just happen on a daily basis, honestly, on the platform with having a lot of listings. So that's why having a VA that can know how to make cases and submit these things on your behalf is like crucial for Walmart to monitor all these things.
So crucial.
Yeah.
Especially if you're like me and you hate doing cases.
Oh yeah. No, it's the worst.
They're terrible. I hate it.
Yeah.
Now,
next question, unless Josh, if you had one.
no, you're good.
So one thing we didn't touch on yet is you said you're doing mainly wholesale. Like we kind of talked about that off camera, but talk about like the process that you had, because I know you did some OA as well. So like once you started doing this full time or like focusing on it with serious effort, how did you scale up OA? Then how did you eventually end up into wholesale and brand direct?
Yeah, so I'll be transparent. For Amazon, before all of those like hard gates and all those things that were happening, Amazon was still like, you can get away with certain things, you know, on the platform. I was doing eBay flips, kind of like Reagan. I think Reagan Profit still does that.
Oh yeah.
I was doing that with discontinued Neutrogena products, and I will always thank eBay for helping catapult myself into a better position for wholesale, because I do think that created a good cash flow, and it taught me negotiating skills, because I was actually negotiating with like larger sellers on eBay to get some of these things in bulk, and they're just buying them from like liquidation deals, whatever. But I paired that with the typical OA websites, searching for the deals, having the VA help out with that, sending all the leads in a list. I mean, it was pretty normal OA stuff outside of the eBay. And then after that was like in the beginning of starting, right? So after I got out of the eBay stuff, because it got a little bit more strict, then I just did OA for a while. And then I actually watched Corey Gaiman's first like wholesale thing, like first wholesale series, whatever. It was like back in when he started it. I watched like, honestly, like maybe 2 or 3 of those videos. And I was just like, I'm just going to go for it. I'm just going to try it out. Like, I don't need to learn anymore. Like, I'll figure it out.
Send it.
Yeah, I'll figure it out as I go along. And that's kind of how I've always like thought about things, is like, I'd rather just try to figure it out before I like look for like assistance in certain things. So I took that idea, ran with it, started local for wholesale, which is always smart, I think, in my opinion. And I still have stayed local. I only do East Coast, and that's where I live. So it's like mainly in my area, some in Florida for the brands that I work with. But I focused on relationships. That was my main mentality going into it, building the relationships over time. A lot of the accounts are not instant, and you're going to just get, crazy amount of money from them and a whole bunch of products to sell. It takes a long time to build up those relationships with them. And I understood that off the rip. So I was patient with it all, and it took time to build. And then around that, I just kind of, it was a snowball effect. I already knew how it worked when I first got my first brand account. And then I just kind of went from there, repeated the same processes, hired the right VA, like I said, for Amazon to help out with the wholesale. I had another one before that helped out with outreach, like emailing. And then as soon as he emailed, I would call them and be like, hey, I just emailed you over all my information. I would like to speak to you, whatever the case may be. And recently I haven't had to open up any accounts. I don't really need to, because I just kind of use the same accounts because they have so many different, products, and then the brands that I work with have so many different products. So it's like, I could, go out there and get 50 more brands and other distributors, whatever the case may be. But I'm at a point where I'm automating Amazon. That's just leveled at the same. And Walmart is scaling, but I'm also incorporating OA again back into it. And I think OA, when the opportunities are there, I still source the same sites that I've sourced for the 2 years of Walmart. And it works. So it's like, why would I cut that off? So I've kept that aligned and just keep pushing more brands into Walmart. That's kind of been the process with that.
So when you started transitioning into wholesale, did you immediately try to go brand direct, or did it not even matter to you if you were going distributor versus brand direct?
No, so I started like the normal route with just finding wholesalers, distributors, anything under the sun that I can get my hands on. And the thing I was running into, which a lot of people do, is you'd open these accounts and you're like really hopeful and finding good things, and you'd scan through it and it's all like terrible. And sometimes you can work with them to get better deals on initial POs, but some of them were just like beyond like help. Like you couldn't even try to work with them on pricing. Like it would be like a 50% discount on some of these things. And that just meant like finding them where other people can't find them. Like how can I search for these accounts? How can I get in touch with these brands? Change my perspective on it, because I can go the route most people do with the distributors and with the wholesalers, and I can have success with that over time, yes, but I chose to go probably the harder route, which was the brand direct. And that ended up working out, and I've built really good relationships with the brands that I work with. And I get, full supply chain. So it's like, it's beautiful. I beat my Section 3 for Amazon last year actually around the same time as now, with those same invoices. So it's like, it's proven to work to help, secure your place on these platforms. And I think it's definitely important to focus on. Harder for sure, but it's all about positioning. It's all about, your relationships with them as well. So, yeah.
I have a question. Do you currently have any brand direct exclusive relationships?
Yeah, so I've worked with this mushroom company to actually put them fully on Amazon and Walmart. I am their exclusive, and that has been a process to get them like fully integrated. But for the most part, no, I'm not like exclusives with any of the other ones. I would say this mushroom one is probably the first exclusive to like allowing to sell on the platform. Nobody else can. So
Gotcha. Oh, very cool. Is that were they on Amazon before, or were they not? Were you had totally on? Like
yeah. So I found them. I liked their branding, and I was like, I'm just gonna reach out to them, see where this goes. And had a meeting with them. They're interested in it. They've been around for 6 years, and for some reason they just never thought to go on Amazon. They like had it in the back of their mind, but they were just focusing on like grocery store relations,
sure,
and more retail based, which was fine. But I was like, you guys are missing out on a huge, opportunity here, especially with your products and like what you guys offer. And I think with the branding, with the uniqueness of them, it's no brainer to go on Amazon. So I'm still waiting on like the things to get back from their approval and everything. From Amazon, but contract's been underway. Everything's going to go smoothly, and then I'll kind of then focus on the Walmart after the Amazon. because I don't want to try to do both at the same time. That's too much and it's not needed. So going to do Amazon, then Walmart next.
Gotcha. And then I have another question. What do you use any software to find brands to reach out to?
No. My old VA used like Smart Scout and stuff to help find them. But for the most part, it's just manual like searching within my category that I sell in.
Okay.
I focused on the same niche for the entirety of selling, like even from the beginning. I've really never strayed away from it. Occasional listings that I'll sell that might be outside of it a little bit, but for the most part, it's the same niche the entirety of selling on Amazon and Walmart. And I think that could be something to be said there for people that are trying to do all the different niches, all the different categories. For wholesale and brand direct, I think it's beneficial just to stick with one, at least in my opinion. I've had success with doing that, so I think I can tell other people maybe to try the same thing. So that's been my thinking. Literally just keep searching for more and more brands underneath that category, because there's just more and more always coming up to at the same time. And that's never been a problem to find them. Like I find them weekly. I have them find them weekly. So it's like there's always more opportunities for sure.
Yeah, that's super interesting, because I totally agree on the niche part of things. Like we're primarily in one category. I would say in different subcategories, but primarily like in one category. But most of the revenue of our business, I would say probably 70 to 80% is within one niche. So it definitely does stack a little bit. But I feel like you're one of the fewer people I've heard who kind of does manual searching for brands. So I'm kind of interested maybe if you could break down that process a little bit. But like for us, I mean, one brand, the first brand direct that we got that's not exclusive was from an OA product that we were selling. But then most of the other ones were either finding using Smart Scout, which like super helpful for entering in filters. Like I can almost always find a good candidate for a brand within like 5 minutes just from using the filter settings. And then from trade shows. So either actually going to the trade show or just looking at the vendor list and then finding ones that kind of fit our criteria too. But what does your manual sourcing process look like? Are you using Keepa? Are you just literally typing in random brand names and on the Amazon app? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, so I don't personally do a lot of that at all. I haven't done that in some time, but what I know that she does for Amazon and for Walmart is that she will search reverse source, still the same as sellers on these listings, and see what else they sell. And then from there, she gets the brand name, reaches out to them, and we start the process after that. So it's honestly like utilizing reverse sourcing still, and just through the distributor accounts we've have opened before with the giant catalogs within that niche of the products and the brands, we actually pull from that to figure out what brands we should reach out directly instead of buying them from the distributor that is, selling them for a crazy amount of money. So it's kind of like using catalogs that we've had in the past and like even from years ago to still like search for those brands from the catalogs to reach out directly. And then there's like external websites are still really beneficial, because like you might go to like iHerb, for instance, right? And find a bunch of brands there. And that's another way you can find them. It's like you don't have to buy from them, but you can just take that information of the brand, put it into your database, which is Notion for me, and know that that's one of the brands you should focus on for your business.
Yep, that's super smart, and that makes a lot of sense. And that's another reason why, so for us, we only have one distributor that we work with, and it's a relationship that we've had for a little bit of time now. But all of our outreach is brand focused. But I also tell people, like, don't throw away distributors, because if you open a distributor account, even if you don't end up buying from them, worst case scenario is now you have a list of hundreds of brands that you can then go in contact. So
right, yeah. And now, like you asked me before, like how much of that is distributors and then brand direct. Even that small percent that we order from and we have that relationship with has provided a lot of value. With, like you said, you can search then from the brands and figure out more opportunities outside of that distributor that you work with. So I think we're pretty similar in that aspect.
Yep, for sure.
All right, Matt, where can people go find you on the internet?
So it's Matt Bender Ecom at all of the ads. I'm mainly on Twitter. I've been trying to focus on Instagram now since the conference. Started YouTube channel as well. I think it's just Matt_Bender. But yeah, it's Twitter's like the main thing. Trying to grow all the other channels, but yeah, that's where you can find me, Matt Bender Ecom.
Gotcha. Guys, you know all the links will be in the description. Thank you for listening. Make sure to leave a comment if you have any topics you want us to discuss in the future. If you're on YouTube, like and subscribe. And if you're on Spotify, follow the podcast so you can stay updated on all of our new content. And we will see you on the next one.